And here someone asks, what is to honor God? In initial evolutionary states, God is a being that we identify and even address him as a being. In a more advanced state, this is an essence, untouchable essence that exists in us that we can perceive. So here we are in a different stage. It's no longer something that is outside. Then this that we call God gradually becomes the whole cosmos, the entire cosmos. Reality, the reality that is immanent in this cosmos. Immanent means true, internal, in the foundation of everything. So this is not a being. This is an essence, a reality that today we even find it difficult to call God. Have you realized that spiritual beings, people find it difficult to say God? Because this name is so characterized that sometimes it's difficult to pronounce this name, giving the dimension that it has, attributing the whole reality of this. So actually any word that you put there will limit this thing. Any way that you call God, you will only limit this. So this question, how to honor God, I don't know. Because honor, this that people understand, this is human honor. I think that before all of this, we should be in silence. We should be in silence, turned to this, and patiently waiting, calmly waiting, with much harmony, that our evolutionary steps gradually happen, for us to gradually recognize that we are this. We are gods. We can say this because God is a human word, so it's no sin to say that you are God, and you are. But this has an evolution, this has a progress, this has an expansion of the consciousness, this expands in the consciousness. So I don't know, when we are well identified with this infinite thing, with this root of everything, I don't know if this is God. I don't know if this is what we see today, what we think today. If we don't want to go through a mental path before these things, the best attitude is silence, because in silence things gradually emerge. So how to honor, love God, what God is, these are things of the mental plane. Here it is about to be before this with simplicity, with much simplicity. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't know what it is. I just know that it is, that I am, that it is there, with much simplicity, the simpler, the least complicated, the least mental. The simplest it is, the more we will be able to begin to perceive its existence, which is not outside, it's not far away. It's there, it is. So it needs silence. It needs silence and to be with a soul, with the monad, with the consciousness, connected with this, but not thinking much, because the mind deceives. The mind puts layers, definitions, the mind limits, the mind creates versions. So it is not with the mind that we do this. It seems like it is not with the mind that we take care of God. So while you pray, while you cry out, while you address, while you invoke, all of this you have to use the mind. But at a certain point, this has to end. This has to stop, so that in silence you begin to be more conscious of these other realities. And divine energy leads us very quickly along this path, this trail. Divine energy suspends us from all this mental process and places us as infinite. And there we are going to go through an experience we have never gone through, but this divine energy, this essence, can be present for us as from now. And being present for us as from now, we are going to see our lives gradually become miraculous. Miraculous means things will happen in our lives that are not moved by the laws of these planes, where our lives develop, things that belong to other planes or other laws begin to take place, and divine energy permeating everything causes these other laws, immaterial laws, to begin permeating our lives. And situations, external situations, are created that are very interesting, in which you are in a material world and you can perfectly perceive that something is happening, something different is happening, some other things are moving, other laws are working, other laws are functioning. Well, to honor God, as the person asks, seems to me that it is to honor all of this, to have all of this in mind and within our understanding, and having the faith, really the faith that a future race, we as a future race, will have these things much closer. We will experience these things just as the things of the mind are experienced today. Don't we experience the things of the mind today, the processes of the mind? So in the next race, this is what the race will experience. The race will experience these processes. So we can start preparing ourselves. Menajada as a planetary center prepares us for this new race, which will be a race with a divine energy that is much closer than in the current race. And here someone asks how to be a member, an integrating part of this monastery. There is no monastery which you enter, because this monastery is a state of consciousness. It's not something that you enter. And if you allow yourself, if you allow your truth, your inner truth to permeate you, to emerge, for you, your inner truth to be reflected in your life, then you are part of this. And the 7 groups of attributes represent groups of laws, groups of tasks, and as you live those tasks, as you live those attributes, as you apply those attributes, becoming these attributes, as you apply these things, then you become a member, an integrating member of this consciousness. This consciousness gradually awakens in you. You gradually recognize this consciousness, aspiring to guide your life on higher purposes, not being in life with the reasons that people generally have, but really looking for a higher purpose that you have. Don't you have the purpose, for example, of radiating divine energy here, when divine energy is installed, acting in you, when it has descended from your divine levels to the material levels? So to aspire to all of this is to belong to this monastery. It's to be a part of this monastery. This is not something physical. It's not an organization. It's not something upon this earth. So much so that the monastery has no building, it doesn't have teachers. It's not on this earth, it's a state of consciousness. And you are firmed there, you find yourself in the state of consciousness, you consider yourself to be a member, you consider yourself to be present in this monastery when you want to be that which you truly are, not that which of your human will, because our human will wants many things, everything that is not on this level of understanding. Everything that human will wants, it's not supposed to be. So for you to be in a monastery, really be in a monastery, you has to want to be that which you really are, that which you still do not know. You to be that which has not yet emerged in you, that which you do not know what it is. This is a member of the monastery. But I am this and that. I know to do this and that. You don't make good use of me. I have so many capacities, skills. This is far away from the monastery. This has nothing to do with the monastery. All of this that we imagine, that we know, that we are aware of, all of this is not. This consciousness of the monastery is not a consciousness of this earth. So everything that happens on this earth is not. It's not this. Everything that I am on this earth is not. I want to come to know that which I am in reality, in truth. So this consciousness is very broad. And we have a lot to develop in this consciousness. A lot because we go from level to level, from plane to plane, discovering what we are. And finally, we are going to allow yourselves to live. Allow to live in us this infinite spirit, this infinite life to live in us. So, what we were, this consciousness shows us you were nothing. What exists is only one spirit. You yourself is nothing. You don't exist. Only one spirit exists. There is an infinite thing, and you there. You are this. This consciousness leads to this point. And within these attributes, within these groups of laws and tasks that lead us to this understanding, we gradually find the energy of 12 rays. First, in a first stage of contact with these energies, these monastic energies, or in the first contacts with this monastery, we come to know very clearly the 7 first rays, which are the ones that manifest on the material plane, which produce material manifestation. Then the attributes of the monastery lead us to other 5 rays. They lead us to the 12th ray. And after the 12th ray, to the other rays, we have other paths to go. We have more immaterial paths. But each group of attributes, self-surrender, equality, transcendence, selfless action, healing, ardent devotion, self-governance, each one of these blocks gradually lead us in a first stage to the 7 rays, to the experience with the 7 rays, and then in a different level of contact with these attributes, we gradually discover the other 5 rays. We discover the 5 rays that come after the 7, which are in the astral cosmic plane, the mental cosmic plane. The attributes are on the way to approach to this. The way they are organized, the way they are disposed and organized internally. Organized means the degree of the energy in each one of them and how these degrees increase. So this gradually leads us to the contact with these 12 rays, which for the human being of this on the surface, for the work of the humankind on the surface is very great at this moment. So as a ray gradually communicates with us and we gradually recognize it, we gradually see a group of attributes on a different level, a different plane. So something is written there and we see on that plane. If another ray touches us, or if a certain ray deepens into us, we are going to see that attribute on a different plane. We are going to see something different there. And we have a path of liberation. And when we reach this limit, this transition of material life to immaterial life, then the attributes, which are laws, tasks, which have not been created here, these are things that exist, that are in the one consciousness. So this gradually emerges before us with a different dimension. And then we are gradually deepening into this climbing through the attributes, using these phrases, these texts. We are gradually deepening into this path. We are gradually finding ways that are ever more subtle until we reach the moment, the 12th ray of a certain freedom, the freedom of this material evolution to another. Someone said she went for a time in the permanent vigil and she could not in any way keep her eyes open and to be awake. So she dreamed with people she no longer has, relationships, facts of the past, old behaviors, everything very strange. And when she woke up, 1 hour and a half had passed, and there was a sewer smell throughout the hut. Of course, this was an astral smell. So I asked for the light to please clean all of that. So I slept again and I dreamed. And the dream was like this. A jaguar entered my house when I left the door open. So I was walking in the house, escaping from the jaguar. And someone told me, if you open the door for the jaguar enter, so you have to open the door again for it to leave. I woke up, the smell had disappeared, and the time had passed. So these were very intense 2 hours in which many things happened, and in which we can see an indirect work of the energy that is implanted in the vigil. And this person and other people who are interested in this theme of the energy of the vigil can read the Time of Retreat, Time of Vigil, which is a book that speaks about the vigil from different aspects. And this that she saw in the dream, that just as we open a door for the creatures to enter, we are supposed to open the door for the creatures to leave, these wild creatures. So this is a way of our relationship with the involutionary forces. It's a moment in which we allow them to enter, and this moment is a little unconscious. Oftentimes we are dealing with different subjects, and according to the treatment we give to these subjects, according to our attitude, we open doors for involutionary forces to enter. And as we are very busy with what we are doing, we don't observe the consequences of the things we are doing. And when we realize the jaguar is in the house, and then a different process begins, the process of opening the door for the jaguar to live. So those who are not careful will see this in-house, unless it's a very decided ray that is instructed for this. Otherwise, you have to open the door for the jaguar to live. And here a whole patient work begins. A long work sometimes, but it is a work that brings a lot of strength, because at each step taken in this work, as the jaguar approaches the door, then the jaguar will gradually leave. We then feel a profound joy. We feel a profound gratitude for the whole process experienced, even also because it developed in us many forces. And someone says that she perceives in herself transformations and changes that are very quick, and sometimes it seems like I cannot assimilate everything, and I am a little shocked and anxious with so many quick changes. These changes and transformations which I am referring to take place in the spiritual field, and I seek and aspire very much for disconnecting from matter the most. I perceive that many of the situations that happen with me are contributing for these transformations to take place and putting me in a different cycle. Is this fear that I have normal? Is this anxiety and this fear, is it normal? Well, if it is normal or not, it depends on us considering this normal or something to be transcended. This depends on us. Some people consider this to be normal, and others think this is a normal state. This is of not being accompanying these changes consciously. And then they try to dominate this and collaborate with these transforming rhythms, transformative rhythms. So she asks if this fear is normal. No, if you nourish this fear, we are going to diminish the impulse of this process. So if you are afraid or have fear, this rhythm will become slower. So as if the inner impulses led you to be transformed in the times you are distracted. Because sometimes we distract a little bit and the soul takes the chance and pushes. And we connect again and the soul withdraws. If we are afraid, if we have fear, these impulses become smaller or in less frequent until they disappear. So these impulses will gradually lead us within our possibilities of bearing. So we are not supposed to be afraid. We have to be calm as someone who is watching it and collaborating with the process. Every time we perceive, we have to collaborate there. Now, this for seeking and aspiring very much for disconnecting from matter, this is a conclusion we come to at a certain stage of the path, that we are on the return path to immaterial life, but no one returns to immaterial life leaving things to be done, incomplete things here, things that we have not resolved in matter. So this consciousness that our path is outside of this sort of matter, mental matter. All of us know this, and we no need to wish to come out of this, because this is our destiny. Within time we will leave this, but we need to go through all the stages here, rather than trying to escape anything or exempt oneself from anything, because we cannot do this. We don't manage to do this. We think that you have escaped, but you haven't. This will reappear for you to fulfill, for you to allow this to happen. In this cycle, in this stage of life upon the earth, the energies work very intensively, so the transformations are really very quick. But for being quick, we don't have to fear, because the world is also transforming very quickly. And if the world transforms more quickly than us, we will end up being dislocated in this world that we are so much afraid of offending. So we are going to find ourselves delayed in relationship to what is happening in the world and in humanity as a whole. So to surrender to this transformation, not fear this transformation, is very practical. Otherwise, things advance and you are left out of date. You are not updated because things are very accelerated. So those who are feeling very intense change must not slow this down, but eventually even surrender to this new rhythm. And someone asked why she works so much upon herself and offers herself so much to service and sometimes feel so desvitalized because she expected that if she offered to service and offered herself, she would feel a lot of energy. Sometimes our energy acts regardless of our consciousness being accompanying what it is doing. Sometimes we recognize the presence of our energy and accompany where it is going. We perceive the work it is doing, but oftentimes the energy works without our realizing about it, being aware of this. In these cases, there is an emission of our energy without our perceiving this. And as we are not perceiving this, and as we are not consciously and collaborating, it could happen that after this work of our energy that we feel desvitalized. This vitalization is not because the energy was emitted, because our source of energy is infinite. This vitalization, it's because you have not realized that the energy was being emitted and you didn't have the chance to bring it back, to evoke more energy or to restore it as it is projected to the service you have offered yourself to do. So we should not be confused. So if you have offered yourself to service and you feel desvitalized, it's because it's a moment that your energy worked in an independent way without you realizing it was working. So you have to be attentive, and as soon as you feel a small desvitalization, you should concentrate more profoundly, because it's not that you are on the wrong path, but the energy is where it's supposed to go, and it doesn't wait for you to perceive. It is available there. And when you begin to feel this lack of force, of strength and vitalization, eventually you're not doing anything wrong. Your energy is just going without you realizing it, without you being able to handle this. So you don't have to think about what you are not perceiving. You don't have to think where your energy is going. It's going wherever it's necessary. But there you have to redouble your concentration on your inner levels. You have to reinforce that alignment so that the energy may be gradually restored. And so you won't need to go through these periods of tiredness without a reason for this. Of course, sometimes we feel tired and desvitalized because we gave a reason for this. But in this, we are not speaking of this case. We are speaking of the case of people who don't give a reason for this and feel like this. So it's because their energy is being employed, projected, it's going there where it is supposed to go, and we are not realizing, either for lack of practice to deal with this mechanism, or because we don't have access to the movement of our energy constantly, or because the energy at a certain moment works independently of our will. And it's good for the energy to have this possibility in the order of things to work regardless of our knowing what is happening, because there it's freer to do what it's supposed to do, and it is not addressed to things that eventually are not correct. So finally, we should accept things as they are, even accept our desvitalization, our tiredness, accept all these things, because without accepting, we don't understand what is happening. Without accepting, you don't understand the process that is happening. And it's good for you to understand, because then you're going to collaborate in this process. And if we feel desvitalized and without strength suddenly, and we don't know the reason, and we gave no reason for this, maybe it's because the energy projected itself, went there and left you, ignoring what it's doing. And as it has left, you should develop another one, start all over, so that you are always filled. Not to feel well and strong. You have to want to feel like this, to have more energy to serve, to give, for it to leave, and you not faint totally. How to do this? This is a good question. You know, right? You are aware that you have a source of energy, internal source of energy in the center of your being. And the source of inner energy is connected with the general energy, with the total energy, with the universal energy. And if there is a lack of any connection, there are levels of energy that work as spiritual hierarchies and connect us with these universal sources. So our inner source is inexhaustible in the sense that it is connected with the total energy. Internally, it is connected. So it is inexhaustible, infinite. If you are going to count, for example, on the energy of your bodies, if you are going to count on your mental energy, your astral energy, or your etherical physical energy, of course, this energy cannot even start, because it's a very limited energy. But then you need to be connected with the source of this energy, to be connected with that profound level of your being, the source where this connects with the universal energy, for you to be in contact with this continual renewal. Then all the energy that you spends, that you gives away or donates, it's going to be gradually restored if you have contact with the source. Don't forget the source of energy. The source of energy is within you and in the cosmos as a whole. So be connected with the source, with your idea, your imagination, with your will. Be connected with this, because there will be no problem of energy, desvitalization and tiredness in this sense. When we forget about the connection with the source, that everything can be in a crisis. But if we don't forget this is permanently reposed or restored, continuously restored. And when we perceive a certain tiredness and weakness, this indicates that you have to resume this contact, or you have to do this contact in a more decided way. This is what it is indicating. And if you do this contact, there is no danger, no possibility for you to be weakened.